In the news tonight, COVID-19 daily total hits another high. It will take a whole country effort to win the battle. And Gawea under strict lockdown.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
Bulavinaka, Fiji. The Ministry of Health recorded 180 COVID-19 infections, a new daily high in the last 24-hour period ending at 8 a.m. today. The bulk of the cases are from the Lami zone, with some recorded in the west. Apinisa Wangarandovu joins us live now. Apinisa, apart from the Central Division, what other areas have reported COVID cases?
Atera, Fiji hit another daily toll record today, and of the 180 new infections recorded today, 168 are from the Lami containment zone. 11 new infections also emerged from Nandi, but these seem to be confined to quarantine facilities and areas where there are already existing clusters. Apart from Nandi, there is another new infection reported from Korovo. Recoveries made today are the highest so far in 24 hours, with 86 patients now recovered. 2 more deaths have also been recorded. Atera.
Thank you, Apinisa. A collective approach from all ends is needed if Fiji is to overcome the growth of COVID-19 infections. And the Ministry of Health has warned that people need to embrace all COVID-19 safe measures if we are to quickly return to the new normal. Minister for Health, Dr. Efremi Wangainambete, says his ministry is giving its best. However, it also comes down to individuals playing their part. Apinisa Wangairandovu again.
We want to be able to protect everyone.
The Minister for Health says, well, there is no clear indication on how bad the current situation could become. They continue to put in their best effort.
We've said all along that we'll give our best response as much as we can, given the expertise that we can and the resources that we are supported with.
Wangainambete says a lack of adherence is influencing the spread of the virus.
One big component is a public health and safe measures. Now, if you look at the body of evidence, it will show that in the countries where they had community transmission in the first round, as soon as the masking was asked of the population, they suddenly started reducing it. As soon as we start physical distancing, there's a whole body of evidence around that.
Acting Commissioner of Police Rusiate Tundravu says people need to respect the measures in place for Fiji to control the pandemic.
We need to come into one mind and as the support of the actions that the government wants and the Ministry of Health. There is a lot of young people that have been arrested because of just blatant disregard of the advisory that are in place. It's a matter of just attitude change.
Wangainambete says medical experts are laying the strategy to safely guide Fiji out of COVID-19. He says but Fijians need first follow the public safety measures. Apinisa Wangarandovu, FBC News.
Gawea settlement in Lami is in lockdown since 4 a.m. this morning for the next 48 hours. This is to allow the Ministry of Health to conduct rapid screening, tracing, swabbing and quarantine cases of interest from the area. Efforts are also being taken to check for COVID-like symptoms and travel histories that may have put residents in the path of Fijians living with COVID-19. Police and RFMF personnel have set up checkpoints to ensure that no one comes out of Gawea. The ministry says this is a necessary step in stopping the infection from spreading further in the community. Suva continues to be a hotspot as majority of the infections are emerging from areas in the vicinity. Koroi Tandolala joins us live now. Koroi, what are the concentrated areas?
Thank you, Tether. The Ministry of Health says, according to their dashboard, the Greater Suva area is almost covered in red dots, which means there are cases almost everywhere in the Greater Suva area. Some of the areas of concern that has been noted by the Ministry of Health that are recording increasing number of cases includes Raiwai and Raiwanga, Kinoya areas and also Wainivula Road in the Umbati as well as other nearby places. Now, Ateda, several areas that appear to be new places or areas of transmission includes the Queen Elizabeth Drive, Flagstaff and Nambua, as well as the Vatuanga area as well. Now, with the numbers of cases continuing to increase, Ateda, the question on a lot of people's mind is, are there enough facilities to cater for these growing cases? Also, as of yesterday, Fiji's test positivity rate stood at 4.1%, just 0.9% short of the World Health Organization's threshold. Now, the WHO's threshold is at 5%, and if our cases continues to increase in the next few days, we are likely to cross this threshold. And 5% means there is a lot of infections in the community, and it's too high. And in this case, it's COVID-19 which poses a major concern. Atela.
Vinaka Koroi. And to our latest COVID-19 update for today. There were 180 new cases in the 24-hour period ending at 8 a.m. today. The Ministry of Health has recorded an increase in cases in the Lami and Nosori areas. Fiji has recorded 2,200 cases since April. There are now 1,631 active cases in isolation, with 618 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll stands at 9. Up ahead, 37 police officers are COVID positive, and Australia ready to assist Fiji. Welcome back. 37 police officers have tested positive for COVID-19. Acting Police Commissioner Rusiate Tondravo confirms to FBC News that the bulk of the 37 are from the Police Special Response Unit in Nasinu and the Totongo Police Station. Sanyani Mboila reports.
The 37 cases includes 12 police officers at the PSRU Nasinu, with 57 family members also in isolation.
We are hitting the max now, and as already indicated, the recovery rate should come up in the week and next week as we de-escalate from Nasinu Barrack.
Tunrabu says 9 cases have so far been recorded at the Totongo police station and are all in isolation with their families.
They've already been extracted and now we are quarantined down at Coral Coast. From there, there's only one family member that has been, which is affected, that has already been.
Health Minister Dr. Iferemi Wangainambete says while the frontliners have been affected, he has commended the efforts by frontliners in an effort to contain COVID-19.
I want to encourage you today that we look towards you, and we know that at this moment in time, Fiji is also looking to you. So we encourage you, we bless you, and we wish you all the best.
The other 12 police officers are from other units and are currently in isolation as the Health Ministry continue to swab officers and isolate them accordingly. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
The Australian Minister for the Pacific says they're keen to assist Fiji in any way necessary to contain the spread of COVID-19 and achieve economic recovery. Zed Sizelja reassured Australia's aid commitment, a sign of strengthening Wubale partnership between the two countries. Koretandolala reports the Australian government is committing $600 million to assist Pacific Island countries, including Fiji.
Australia feels it's their moral obligation to assist Pacific Island countries in curbing COVID-19 as it is the pathway to economic recovery.
Our commitment across the Pacific is for around $600 million or more in assistance when it comes to the delivery of vaccines. So it is a substantial financial commitment, but we see it as a moral necessity for Australia to do this.
Zed Sizelja says they've supported Fiji in various ways and will continue to do so in the future.
But the Prime Minister has also said it's an economic necessity. It's important that our entire region is protected from COVID so that we're all protected. The economic impact, but likewise, when it comes to our family and our friends in the Pacific, we want to work with you to make sure everyone in the region is protected.
The Fijian government, through the Ministry of Health, is working tirelessly to vaccinate the country's targeted population. Australia will be providing 750,000 more doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine in the near future as part of its 1 million doses committed to Fiji. Koritandulala, FBC News.
Save the Children Fiji has helped more than 1,000 families struggling during the second wave of COVID-19. Chief Executive Shairana Ali told FBC News they're also mobilizing efforts to support families in the Western Division. Majority of these families are in need of basic food items, as many have been unemployed for months on end. Fiji is into day 66 of the second wave of the outbreak and is showing no signs of slowing down.
So in total, we are looking at assisting more than 1,200 families, and it is costing us around 120,000 Fijian dollars.
The Land Transport Authority Board has begun the process of finding a new Chief Executive Officer. This as current Chief Executive Samuel Simpson will be leaving 6 months earlier than the date at which his contract officially ends. Simpson's 3 years would have come to an end in December. The board has supported Simpson's decision and wishes him and his family the very best in their future endeavours. Coming up in world news, New South Wales warned COVID cases may rise, and later in sports, chess players remain hooked to online competition.
Welcome back. Concerns have been raised that businesses are dictating what consumers should purchase while doing online shopping. The Consumer Council of Fiji has received reports of some online businesses taking advantage of the current situation to gain money. Jeshulal reports.
Businesses have an obligation to deliver products and services which consumers have paid for, and failure to do this is unethical.
Whilst we understand that there may be, minor disruptions to supply chains, we are reminding businesses to exercise good business practices and not to resort to shoddy market practices.
We advise you to take delivery, stay home, and enjoy this new platform that we have created for our customers.
Complaints have also been received for misleading advertisement, accepting payments for products which are out of stock, and forcing consumer to choose alternative products.
The Consumer Council of Fiji has and will continue to monitor online shopping platforms to ensure that any unethical practices can be identified and weeded out, and the rights of Fijian consumers are protected.
Fijians are reminded to be wary of individuals on social media and also those going around offering business opportunities and other get-rich-quick schemes. Jeshulal, FBC News.
The Fiji Television Board has appointed BDO Chartered Accountants as the external auditors for the company for the financial year ended 30th June 2021. The appointment will be effective until the next annual general meeting of the company. This appointment was made following the vacancy created by the resignation by PricewaterhouseCoopers Chartered Accountants as the company's external auditors. Here are the local exchange rates as at early this morning. We had a relatively good day at the currency exchange today. The Fijian dollar was up against $1 US, kina, and the yen. On the commodities market, crude oil rose again today to end at $73.17 a barrel. Gold improved today to finish at $1,784 per ounce, and silver continued its dive, ending 4 cents further down at $25.94 per ounce. And we have Sinifa from HFC Bank joining us with the latest from the trading world.
Good evening. The Aussie and Kiwi dollars eased after snapping losing streaks yesterday, with the Aussie down 0.2% and the Kiwi down 0.15%. The US dollar paused for breath today as traders look to testimony from the US Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell for guidance after a surprise shift in the central bank's policy outlook, while cryptocurrencies nursed heavy losses. Elsewhere, sterling was steady, holding on to its overnight bounce as investors look forward to the British economy reopening further on July 19. Investors will be keenly focused on the U.S. labor market, as its performance is likely to have an influence on the Fed's attitude. Meanwhile, all eyes are on Powell, who appears before Congress later tonight. That's all for now from your HFC Bank, Pinaka.
The dairy farmers are receiving continuous support from the Fiji Cooperative Dairy Company Limited during this pandemic. Cooperative Chief Executive Kusmandra Prasad says they are working closely with the relevant ministries to ensure farmers are able to continue providing milk for the nation. Prasad says they do not want COVID-19 to affect milk production in lockdown areas. Dairy farmers in lockdown areas like Sawani Syria can access emergency supplies of feed supplements. The farmers can now access feed for half the value, as FCDCL has been rolling out the subsidy program in partnership with Fiji Dairy Limited. The farmers are being urged to follow the proper protocols at the border. That is the latest from my end, but coming up after the break, Masi Designer goes online. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The Year of Wheat campaign pushed by the Syrian president is in jeopardy after low rainfall risk leaving an import gap of at least 1.5 million tons.
Syria's President Bashar al-Assad has been pushing a campaign called the Year of Wheat, but instead he's facing a year of drought. A lack of rainfall risks leaving an import gap of at least 1.5 million tons that Syria's Minister of Agriculture has put down to climate change. The harvest has dropped this year by around 50%, says farmer Imad El-Sayed. The agricultural blow and lack of funds to finance the imports will add pressure to Syria's already battered economy. Russia, one of the world's largest exporters of wheat and one of Assad's closest allies, says it's stepping in to help the country meet the 4 million tons of annual domestic demand. But its cargoes have been slow to arrive in recent years as funds grew scarce, with publicly available customs data showing no significant supplies to Syria. Officials and expert estimates show at least 1.5 million tons of wheat imports were needed. They said a 1.2 million ton government purchasing target, driven by forced sales to the government, now look wildly unrealistic.
An artist from Laos is expanding her business using the online platform by diversifying her handmade cultural pieces. Continuing her late mother's legacy during the pandemic, Koto Matemosi is using her skills to keep the family financially afloat. Kelly Vadala reports.
The Matemosi family is known for their late mother's work, whose Masi design is on our national carrier.
That's how I learned from her, and it inspires me a lot, and it really motivates me to continue her legacy in this time around.
The 35-year-old says Masi making has come in handy during the pandemic.
Income generating to our family during this kind of COVID pandemic, and also it's a unique art for us to treasure.
Matemosi has showcased her artwork through various platforms, and due to high demand, her online business has taken a hit.
Doing your work, we should do it with all your best.
She also takes out time to teach the younger generation how to make Masi, ensuring the cultural act remains preserved. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
In today's Q&A, Kuroi Tandalala speaks with the Australian Minister for the Pacific on their vaccine commitment to Fiji.
I understand that Australia, through its Vuvale partnership with Fiji, has been assisting us in terms of vaccine and in other areas as well.
We know how important this vaccine rollout is to our Fiji and Vuvale at the moment. We know there are some challenges there in terms of COVID, but we're very impressed with the speed of your vaccine rollout.
Is there any chance that Australia would consider providing Pfizer vaccines for Fiji?
At the moment, because of our capacity to produce the AstraZeneca vaccine, it has been the doses that we have had spare, and we've been able to share those with our Pacific family.
Has the Ministry of Health or Fijian government sort of like put forward another request, maybe in terms of more PPEs or any machines that will help the Fiji in terms of its testing capacity and ultimately in the fight against COVID-19?
There's been a number of discussions between governments around things like additional PPE, and that's something, again, that we are very closely considering and very favourably disposed towards. So it's really just a matter of working through our processes to make sure to see what is available.
Do you have any other comment or anything you'd like to share with us with regards to Australia's assistance in terms of providing vaccines for Fiji?
It is something we are absolutely committed to. From our Prime Minister down, our government is committed to this.
And now to sports with Jamie.
Minaka, and good evening. Ahead in sports, countdown begins for Fiji Sevens. And Euro history for Austria. This and more coming up. With very little time to the Olympics, the Fiji Sevens side will need to hit the ground running at the Oceania Sevens this weekend. There are a lot of unknowns for the side, and coach Gareth Beba is adamant a winning culture needs to set in place quick. Meanwhile, despite the limited game time this year, Beba is pleased that players such as Taniela Sanrungu, Kamnieli Rasaku and Sireli Mangala have transitioned well into the national sevens system. Aquiladama has more.
The countdown for the Oceania Sevens has started, and all these players deserve to be part of the tournament.
Players that have earned their position in that 18 have done it through hard work and graft. Some of them I've known playing domestically in Fiji for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and they get their opportunity probably quicker than they thought in some respects in terms of going to play an international competition. But what they've shown is, I suppose, the behaviours and the values that we want in a group.
However, Beba is sure of one thing, and that is to have a winning habit before the Olympics.
When we get to this level, had you had other competitions, you might have been able to change players around and think about different performances. But yeah, you want to get into a winning habit as well. The intention is always to win. Now, you know, there's other teams who are trying to do the same thing, but the intention that we come with a team is that we perform to get wins.
Just like Fiji, Australia also has some unknowns ahead of the Oceania Sevens.
There's a bit of integration with some players coming back into the program after a little hiatus in 15, so just sharpening them up and getting them integrated back in. With the objectives of this tournament is that there's still some spots up for grabs, and to have those blokes playing against New Zealand and Fiji, and of course some of the guys that they're up against with the Australian team. So
Fiji will play its first game against Australia on Friday at 4 p.m. and Oceania selection at 9:30 p.m. They'll have 2 games on Saturday and Sunday as well. Aquiladama, FBC Sports.
Players with links to Fiji, Sevu Rees, George Bauer and Hoskins Sotutu have been named in the All Blacks squad to face the Flying Fijians and Tonga next month. The All Blacks will feature 4 new players, while Sam Whitelock has been confirmed as captain in place of the injured Sam Cane. The Fiji Chess Federation is pleased with the players who continue to pursue their interest in the sport. Fiji Chess turned online since the first wave of the pandemic hit the country, with players getting a taste of international competition. Secretary Guru Arvind says they were initially worried about players losing interest as there are no prizes in online competitions.
One big advantage of face-to-face events is we can have sponsors, we can make it big, we can give out prizes. So right now players are not playing for the prizes because of social distancing. We cannot actually give prizes out. But at the moment, we're just enjoying the sport online.
Austria has reached the knockout stage of the European Championship for the first time since the inception of the tournament in 1958. A well-deserved 1-0 win over Ukraine this morning broke the 63-year drought and securing a last 16 clash with Italy. Denmark has made it to the final 16 after an emphatic 4-1 victory over Russia in Copenhagen today. The hosts did not disappoint as they put on a thrilling 90-minute performance in front of their home crowd to book a place in the qualifiers against Wales. Still with Euro 2020, and Belgium beat Finland 2-0 today, making it the first time for the side to win all 3 group games at the tournament. Netherlands has made it 3 out of 3 after thrashing North Macedonia 3-0 today. The Dutch side had already secured top spot in Group C with the game to spare, having beaten Ukraine and Austria. In play of the day, the try that set alight the women's Super Rugby match between the Brumbies and Rebels. An intercept by Pesi Palu, then a well-timed pass to Taile Ngalo Wilson had everyone off their seats. In our Quirky sport of the day, the ultimate relay, Corrida de Tora, or the race with a trunk. This unique sport is commonly practiced and played by indigenous Brazilian men during the International Games of Indigenous Peoples. That's it from sports, but in Weird and Wonderful after the break, a dolphin puts on an impromptu underwater show for unsuspecting scuba diver. Listen more coming up.
Time to look at the weather for today and later this week. A trough of low pressure is expected to approach the Fiji group from the southwest tomorrow. Cloud and showers to affect most parts of the country from tomorrow until Thursday. Now to the west, mainly fine, but showers forecast from tomorrow. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, sun was out today. Expect showers to develop from the south tomorrow. Moving further to the north, some showers, and this is expected for a few days. The places we will be checking out is Pacific Harbour, Tavua and Bua. In Nambualu Bua, it felt like 29 degrees and humidity of 70%. At sea, moderate northerly winds over the southern Lau group, moderate easterly winds elsewhere. Winds expected to become predominantly southwest by tonight, moderate seas. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 4:39 a.m. tomorrow morning, sunrise at 6:37. For tomorrow, expect showers to develop from the south tomorrow and spread to the rest of the country by later, cool nights. And looking further to Thursday, showers heavy at times expected over most places. Showers gradually easing later in the day, cool at night. Our show of the day is from Australia, where our 7th team is preparing for the Oceania tournament and the build-up to the Olympics. Remember to send us pictures, send it with a small description to our FBC News Facebook page. That's all from the weather world. It's back to Ateda.
Thanks, Kritika. It's truly some once-in-a-lifetime footage you've got to see to believe. In the world of the weird and the wonderful, an extroverted dolphin put an impromptu underwater show for an unsuspecting scuba diver. In Fijian Pulse, we ask, what is your favorite pastime activity with cinemas and recreational centers closed?
My favorite pastime would be watching Netflix and normally Amazon Prime, that's all.
My favorite pastime is playing games, Call of Duty and PUBG.
My favorite pastime is to take shot photograph and just surfing.
Favorite pastime for now is learning new recipes in the kitchen and Netflix here and there.
Recapping our main stories, COVID-19 daily total hits another high. This will take a whole country effort to win the battle, and Gawea under strict lockdown. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we're asking, can Fiji retain its gold medal in Rugby Sevens at the Tokyo Olympics? Visit fbcnews.com.fj to answer. And send us newsworthy pictures and videos via email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, or you can share it with us via our various social media accounts. You can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news and sports, and listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news for tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow. Stay safe. Watemanda.